But I think shortly after you worked with Irrfan Khan in a Bengali film,
Yes.
and I read somewhere that you were the one who connected him to Meera Nair after all these years after
Well, I
Salam
must be
Bombay.
one of many people
Okay.
because I'm sure, like he asked me, he must have
Yeah.
asked many people. But for Mira's information, new contact information, because I just worked on Monsoon Wedding and he had been promised when he did Salam Bombay,
Yeah.
and he had a small part. Mira had promised him that in the future she would give him a big part, and he was waiting. It had been 15 years, I think. He was waiting, and then I just wrote to her, and I don't know what really happened after that, but I saw him in Namesake in New York, and I'd already gone there, and then few years later, when I moved to Bombay, and my wait began. To wait for the next job. I understood what Irfan must have gone through when we were shooting for Shadows of Time. And I had so much more understanding. But at that time, I was just a cocky 20-year-old who's just done a Meera Nair film as a first film, just fell into my lap, and and this amazing actors asking me to give her email. And I said, sure. I didn't understand the meaning of what that wait must have meant, but it just took me to get there, 15 years after doing, Monsoon Wedding and not having any work for 2 years, 3 years, then getting something, then again nothing. And of course, by then Irfan was Irfan, the phenomena that had won hearts, and he would see me whine and complain about not having work, and he'll be like, stop being such a Meena Kumari, complaining, whining. He said, you're going to even get less work if this is your behavior. And I used to be like, you will never understand because you have so much work. And he said, yeah, sure. I was born with so much work, and you are the only actress who's, like he said, just don't become this tragic, I used to hate it when he used to give me this kind of advice. I just think it's such nonsense. And it is being spoken from a place of privilege that I really can't understand my struggle. But he was absolutely right about these things. And he said, if you have the time to whine, then use that time instead to learn something and do something fun. So when I started learning how to swim or like learn a new, like a song, I realized that even like going to a park, understanding the different kind of leaves, noting down their names, being able to recognize the different kinds of birds, which birds like which trees, which birds like which fruit, just from my observation, not from Google. You start sharpening your capacity to observe life, and that just comes back to your work. And it's not a waste of time. And when you fill yourself up again and again with new stimulus, new observations, the chances of you attracting work are so much higher. And he was absolutely right, but I hated hearing it. Like most good advice grates your ears when you get it, yeah.
Did you ever kind of try to reach out to him for leads, because he was working with the best, Vishal Bhardwaj, so many of them?
No.
No.
No, I was too proud. And also, I don't want to put someone in that situation because it is, everyone has come up the hard way in this industry. You come from nothing, you slowly build, you slowly start connecting. The audience start connecting to your characters, if not your name. And then when you've played enough number of characters that they've connected to, they start connecting with your name. And then it becomes easier for producers to cast you. It's a journey and a walk that you have to walk. No one can just come and, like even, let's say if I'd asked and if he'd given, also, I don't know how long it would last. How many times would he push my name out? So I wouldn't ask him, and I would not ask him or any of my actor friends to put them in that situation where they have to push a friend's name, and I can, like, I think it's fair to ask for somebody's email address. I mean, I'd be as non-intrusive and, but yeah.
You've worked with him at different points of your career and his, even right up till, there was Kissa, of course, then there was Hindi medium and Angrezi medium. Uh, was there a part of him that was changing every time you would meet him, or what remained the same and what kind of was changing?
I think when you are dealing with a diagnosis like cancer, uh, there was always a spiritual aspect to him, which I saw in Kissa. His love for flying kites, for something that is tethered between the earth and the wind, and that thread that connects him. There was something so, or his, there was something always so his inner life was so rich, and and there was something, a curiosity about the universe, about the things that we can't see, and not just human beings, other species, and that kind of curiosity that I witnessed in Kissa. I think then the diagnosis, of course, later. I think when you are forced to understand death, you start living life with the kind of honesty that I saw when my mom was battling cancer as well. That until then, death is just a theory. Even though we all know it's inevitable, it's still theoretical. But when you're actually in that negotiation with your mortality so directly, you live with a quality which is hard to describe. I can't put it to words, but he definitely had. He was a man who was living with a texture and with an awareness, and to have fun in that moment, which is very powerful.